It's Tuesday, September 14th, and time for your Barbados Today evening news update. Unregistered establishments selling pharmaceutical products have been put on notice. Health and Wellness Minister Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostic says changes are coming to the Pharmacy Act, which is now set to go before Parliament for debate in a bid to put an end to the worrying trend. The minister was speaking at the opening ceremony of the Barbados Drug Service Training Workshop held at the Accra Beach Hotel today.
The decision to amend was approved by Cabinet, and it is now set to go to Parliament for debate. And this is a significant thing in my view, because this is going to make it more applicable, the law that is, in terms of how we treat the pharmacy in the 21st century, and to deal with some of the issues that I would have identified in terms of establishments that are selling things that they're not registered to sell. And I will say this even here. The law is there, and we don't intend to try to criminalize people. And I believe that the intent of the law really is to deter people, first and foremost. But if that deterrence is not working, and if we have repeat offenders, then if we sit idly by and do not take action against such persons, then we will run ourselves into trouble. What we do not want is for this kind of action and activity to continue unabated and not to act, because if we fail to act, then it's going to spread, and it will be just as infectious and contagious as COVID-19 itself. And we owe it to the people of Barbados to put an end to this. And I'm hoping that with the increase in numbers of the inspectorate, that we would be able to police this in a much better way going forward.
Minister Bostic also revealed that the number of drug inspectors will also increase from 3 to 5.
I learned the importance of the drug inspectorate and of pharmacovigilance. And I also recognized that we were kind of short in terms of the numbers of persons that we have to be able to do what is really a very, very important job, not only on behalf of the Ministry of Health and Wellness, but the country in general, because we have to be very vigilant when we are dealing with pharmaceuticals. And so, even though the numbers in terms of the increase, Madam Director, may only be 2 at this point in time, I am glad that this initiative at least gives us greater strength. And I thank the pharmacists and the Pharmacy Council for being able to help us to put this together in order to build a line of defense that would redound to the benefit of the people of Barbados.
Meantime, Director of the Barbados Drug Service, Miriam Hines, said inspectors have been performing their duties amid significant challenges.
But with the current 3 drug inspectors, all of them are acting. All of them are relatively new, and we have been trying our utmost best to carry our mandate with significant challenges. When the Pharmacy Council asked us to train drug inspectors for them to carry out their functions, our drug inspectors, as able as they have been above board, and they have been working just as any very qualified and experienced drug inspector would be doing. They declined, saying they themselves needed training. And therefore, we decided that we needed to fast forward this training. The amount of requests that are being made on the inspectors has increased significantly since the introduction of Asikuda World. This software has been very effective in picking up drugs and items that have been brought into the country for years without check. Through the Pharmacy Council and with the approval of the Minister, including you, sir, the Minister of Health, the Chief Medical Officer, and the Permanent Secretary, you've all agreed to put our request for 2 additional posts of drug inspectors forward, which in my view is a very conservative request, considering the various institutions that these officers serve.
A suggestion that one of the island's hotels be converted into an isolation facility for wealthy visitors who test positive for COVID-19 has received the backing of a major hotelier. Paul Doyle, owner of the Crane Resort, which is currently being used as a quarantine facility, said the recent idea shared by Acting Chief Medical Officer Dr. Kenneth George was a very good one. Doyle told Barbados Today he agreed that a hotel could be used for isolation once the number of people coming into the island increased. However, he said this would mean that the property would have to either train staff to adequately deal with such a situation, or the Ministry of Health would need to place dedicated medical officers on a site.
It's not easy because you have people that have the virus. Right, and they're in your place. Now, they can't leave a room, so it's not like it is going to really affect anyone. But our staff going in have to, be fully geared up, which we're not used to. So, or maybe they would have staff, I don't know. But I think the idea of having a hotel that would be a quarantine, or not an isolation center, is a very good idea, because we need, as a country, to open up in a very difficult environment, and we need to attract tourists. And the message to the tourists is, it's not bad. We're going to show you a good vacation. We're going to ask you to wear a mask when you're in close and you can't socially distance. And if you've not had your second test result back, we're going to ask you you can't go to the restaurants. So there's rules, and we follow them, yet they can't leave the property.
Cleanup operations continued today in St. Peter following heavy rains, which inundated a number of parishes yesterday for several hours. Barbados Today's Kobe Brooms visited the impacted areas this morning and filed this report.
Over the weekend, it was like deja vu for residents here in St. Peter, as heavy rains caused flooding which came rushing down through this canal, which spilt over into their homes. When we spoke with them, they expressed their frustration.
If I go in there and search, I might find old newspapers where the government at the time admit that building the highways were causing the backup. As I said, it wasn't as bad. I find him as a little boy, we used to flood like Angle High out here. But after the highway builders were causing it, you see, you could see the water marks on my fence there. You could see right on the lath that supporting the fence. That'll be the water water be all by your chest and all kind of thing. I don't know what to say.
Are you saying you're frustrated because you've been seeing this for how many other years?
Almost 40 years. So what's to say? And I've been complaining for the 40 years. So one more to complain,
One thing they could do, one major thing, the engineers that just deal with them things, them is the main that they should bring down here when it's flooding. Not when you hear bad weather coming and people coming and clearing drains and that kind of thing, clearing gullies, that all. You gotta get these men down here when the place is flooding, so they will see where the water coming from, where it running, and how it coming, the kind of force that coming over it and where it's spreading to. You understand? Because when it coming down through that canal ain't saying nothing. The place in the gully that they clear deeper than the canal that it got to run down to, so it can come down through here, overflow the little 2x2 canal. Can't force through there. The space, the hole's definitely too small for the volume of water that is coming down.
Yes. I moved down here in 1965 from Mount Barbados Road. Nobody do nothing yet. Every year it's worse and worse every year. And I can't handle it no more because I go into my grave now. I ain't got much longer here now, 87 years. I ain't got much longer here.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To news from our regional neighbors now. Hurricane Paulette slammed into Bermuda early on Monday with high winds and lashing rain, but there were no immediate reports of serious damage or deaths. The system also knocked out power, with the Bermuda Electric Light Company reporting that close to 25,000 homes were without electricity. Schools are to remain closed until Wednesday, while the island's international airport is due to reopen at noon on Tuesday. The National Hurricane Center said at 5 p.m. Paulette was moving away from Bermuda towards the north-northeast near 15 miles per hour. It said maximum sustained winds are near 105 miles per hour with higher gusts. And finally, on the international front, Hurricane Sally is inching towards the U.S. Gulf Coast, threatening several southern U.S. states. Sally was officially declared a hurricane on Monday and is expected to make landfall on Tuesday. We get more in this report from CBS News.
Hurricanes often come with more water than wind. This one has both. It's going to pack a punch in both areas. Now, take a look at what we're dealing with. Right now, the storm has 100-mile-per-hour winds. It's a Category 2, 140 miles southeast of Biloxi, Mississippi. Where do I think landfall is going to be, and exactly when? I want to be more precise on that. I think it's going to be somewhere right around the Mississippi-Alabama border as a Category 2, if not a Category 3. It's going to be borderline. Boy, it's going to be close, and I do believe it's going to pack a punch with the water. I mean, a lot of rain, but also storm surge around Mobile Bay. It could be, 7 to 11 feet. And look at the rainfall totals. Anywhere from a foot to 2 feet in this area, shaded in black, the Mississippi-Alabama border, that could be 2 feet or more of rain. And then if you take a look at what else is out there, we've got all kinds of names in the Atlantic Basin. So we've got Paulette, we've got Renee, we've got Sally, Teddy, Vicky. This could very well become Wilfred. It is a record-setting season so far. I think that will become Wilfred. If that happens, we are then out of letters. So we don't use X, Y, and Z. Then we go to the Greek alphabet.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.